So are these the best irons TaylorMade has ever made? The 2012 era MCMBs? I mean, they're things of cult legends. There's guys on tour still playing them. I used them for 3 years. I have 2 sets of them here just because I needed a backup. They were so stinking good, but in the year 2024, how do they perform? How do they hold up? That's what we're gonna find out in today's video. So let's just dive right into hitting some. So I've got the 9 iron here. This is probably from my second set of them, the backup set I had, because the first one, the face was a little worn down. Same shaft that I use now, KBS Tour 130X, a little different grip. Let's just see how it feels, how it performs. A little to the toe, so 143 in the air. That's a few yards short, but gosh, it feels so good. Like, it feels so responsive. The feedback in these irons, you could tell if you hit a good one, a thin one, a heavy one, instantly. The feedback and workability and playability from that was just phenomenal. 45, again, I'm catching these a little to the toe. Spin numbers are good. Just a little short on a subtle mishit because my 9 iron's closer to 150 in the air, but catching these a little toey, we're losing some yardage. It's a bit better. 152 in the air. See the spin come down though, 7,400. A little on the lower side of spin. Little draw though, just draw spins left. Ball speed's really good, 114 on 92 miles of club head. And that thing felt like bloody perfect. Felt so good. I do have a modern ball. I've got the current TP5X. When I played these, I think it was when the Penta came out. Little toey. Distance comes down a little bit, but I mean, man, they're solid. They're really solid. But if you catch it heavy, if you catch it thin, what happens? Do you have the same forgiveness you have in a current club? There, a little bit. Got that one heavy. 140. I mean, I lost 10 yards to what I would expect, but ball speed just plummeted. 106. Club head speed plummeted. Like, that was just a shitty shot. At least it still went straight. Man, they just feel so good. Ball speed back to 112, club head speed 90, 147 in the air, 8,400 spin, little high fade. Gosh, these feel good. Hard to top this. Just the forgiveness obviously isn't the same as, I think, what I'm gaming right now. Oh, that's so good. Just a little bit of a pull draw. Ball speed goes up, spin comes down, 150. Like, you hit your numbers, these things. It's no wonder some guys still play them. 114, 153 in the air. Man, you get going, there's some pop there, that's for sure. Let's hit the MC. So this is the 4 iron MC. Gosh, it looks good. Gosh, it looks good. A little low, but man, that felt solid. Frozen rope. Yeah, they're cult legendary irons for a reason because they're so gorgeous to look at, but the feel and feedback and responsiveness and workability, playability is just unparalleled. Yeah, low pull. That wasn't very good. That was awesome. Spin numbers are great. Carry's a little lower. I'd probably like to carry my 4 iron a little closer to 220. But yeah, I mean, they live on the shelf. But I feel like I could put these in the bag. But my curiosity is, if I put these in the bag and replace what I game right now, what's the trade-off? What's the trade-off putting in 12-year-old irons that are just the ultimate player iron compared to player irons from 2023, 2024? What's the difference? What do we see in ball speed changes and ultimately kind of like in that forgiveness change? So let's compare these. to my current gamers. So through the power of YouTube, I've done the comparison. It's 100 degrees in the garage, so I didn't want to make you suffer through me sweating with a fan blowing. So we've done the comparison head to head. Pitching wedge, 7-iron, 4-iron. So that's the MC MB. So the MC 4-iron, MB's pitching wedge, and 7-iron. And my current gamers are kind of a blend between the Takomo 301 MBs and those McGregor MT Milleds. McGregor MT Milled 4-iron, and then Takomo 301 MB pitching wedge and 7-iron. And ultimately, I just wanted to get 10 good shots with the MCs, the MBs, and then compare them with 10 good shots from the other ones. And then in that process, there's a few things that I learned that I spoke about when I was hitting that 9-iron and 4-iron for the first time. So let's just dive into this data. It's very, very interesting. So let's start with the pitching wedge. 10 solid shots that I hit well. Not that I'm trying to nuke one and hit like I wasn't trying anything fancy, but if I thinned it, if I caught it a little heavy, I removed it so I could find 10 solid shots. With the MB first, that's what I started with. A miss hit, the drop off was noticeable. We saw that a little bit with the 9-iron, with the 4-iron, a slight miss hit, a slight to the toe. It was somewhat noticeable, but in this testing, hitting more shots, when I thinned it, ball speed and carry really fell off. If I caught it heavy, ball speed and carry really fell off. So then with the Takomo, I didn't see such a big drop off on a miss hit. The miss hit yardages and ball speed stayed a little bit closer to the averages. And if we look at these averages, the Takomo carried a couple more yards in the air, a couple more miles of ball speed, but it's not because of less spin. The spin is still pretty comparable. We look at the dispersion, dispersion's still tight. It's a pitching wedge. You want to have some tight dispersion on good shots. The dispersion is really, really good, really, really tight. A lot of similarities, but you just see a difference in carry yardage and ball speed. Does that speak a little bit to modern technology? Even just, it's 12 years, is there just a little more pop, a little more forgiveness in a modern golf club? And the fact that it's this noticeable, or there's a couple yards in a pitching wedge, it's very interesting. So going into the 7-iron, I shifted it. I started with the Takomo iron and then tested the MB, because I didn't want this to feel like, oh, you're always a little bit more loose with the newer clubs, so you're gonna hit them better a little bit further. And again, it's just 10 solid shots. I'm removing the miss hits. So we're seeing what good shots do with the older clubs and the newer clubs. And when we compare the 7-irons head to head, not a whole heck of a lot is different. Spin's very similar, ball speed's very similar, yards, a yard and a half more with a newer club. Dispersion though, I mean, it's negligible. They're both just performing so well. It's really, really interesting stuff. I would have expected a bit more of a gap with the 7-iron after what I saw with the pitching wedge, but you saw the performance, the feel, everything in these older golf clubs is so good. It's just, again, the miss hits, the drop off is more noticeable than a miss hit with my current gamers. A thin one versus a thin one, or a heavy to a heavy, you lose more yards and more ball speed with the older golf clubs. So then we go into the 4-iron, and yeah, my 4-iron is probably a little bit more thicker, or a bit more mass than the MC, but again, the numbers aren't too dissimilar. As expected, a few more yards with the current club. Ball speed though, negligible. Spin, pretty similar. And the forgiveness in the MC was pretty solid. And the predictability and the playability was really solid. The forgiveness in the MT Mill from McGregor is crazy. A heavier one, a thin one, you're only losing a yard or 2 to 4 yards. Whereas a heavy one, a thin one, you could lose, let's say 4 to 8 yards with the 4-iron. So that's the big difference. The forgiveness with the current stuff is phenomenal. But then the play, the feedback, the workability with the older clubs is better. The feedback on a shot with these older clubs is better than the feedback. And these current blades are really, really good blades, but I've noticed, especially testing and even gaming direct-to-consumer clubs, the feedback is not the same as these finely engineered golf clubs. And that's why you see guys still playing these golf clubs. Because I mean, at the top of the game, they're hitting it so well that they're not compromising a lot. Like the compromise of forgiveness for them isn't a huge deal, especially with how the game is shifting. Like you just need to hit driver long and straight and then hit your short irons close. They're not mishitting short irons to mid irons as often as the average golfer or even the crappy mini tour pro that I was. They're not mishitting it as often as we are. So that lack of forgiveness, that drop off of ball speed isn't going to be so noticeable for them. But for you and me, I think we are maybe doing a little disservice if we are playing irons that are 12 years old, because there's current stuff out there that is so much more forgiving and will give us more out of our bad shots. Because golf, again, I say it over and over, it's all about how good is your bad. And I can hit bad shots with these clubs that carry more appropriately to what I wanted them to than a bad shot with these clubs. And if we look at that, if that's water, bunker, that's strokes. That's strokes that you could be saving even with bad shots. That being said, I feel like I'd be very comfortable gaming these clubs. I'd have a lot of fun, and I don't think I would lose a lot. But I'm very happy gaming these clubs. So I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place, because I think I'd love to film a video, just maybe a break 60 with these older clubs. Let me know, would you like to see that? But you see it here. The numbers, pretty similar. A little bit more pop in the newer stuff, a little bit more forgiveness, but gosh, the feel, the feedback, the workability, these things are phenomenal. And that's why they're kind of like these cult popular irons, because they're gorgeous, they feel so good, and they still perform so well over the course of time. If you want to see me play with these, let me know down below, and we'll see you in the next one.